see. Within 10 seconds, the Russian armored vehicle erupted in flames, and the crew abandoned the transport. On the same day, Ukrainians destroyed several more units of Russian armor, thus thwarting the enemy's plan to seize this village. And take a look at this tank as well. It was providing cover for the Russians during the attack, but it was pinpointed and destroyed with a Javelin missile. After the explosion, the tank started moving until it crashed into a brick wall, and its engine kept running until the tank burned down. The Russians left this APC fully loaded with ammunition on the path to the village. The Ukrainians only needed one drone to cause some minor smoke. But just as the Ukrainians were about to deploy another drone, the APC exploded. This road has become the so-called death road for the Russians. In their attempts to attack the village located along this route, the Russians lost dozens of tanks and APCs, but still couldn't achieve their desired goal. But Ukrainians also started encountering special difficulties. Look at this camouflaged Russian tank. It's what's known as a stationary tank. Russians use stationary tanks instead of artillery, positioned 3 or 4 kilometers away from the front line. The purpose of such tanks is to serve as mobile light howitzers to support assault groups. But look what happened. The Ukrainian drone hits this tank, but the tank remains undamaged. Only the camouflage net on the tank's surface is burning. New Russian tanks are becoming increasingly difficult to destroy in this manner. To destroy this Russian tank, Ukrainians needed to use over 7 FPV drones and several hours of time. All because the Russians have picked up on some secrets from Western tanks and started implementing them on their own tanks. And now, watch as Ukrainian drones hunt down Russian tanks right during their attack. The first tank turns out to be too vulnerable. It receives just one hit and immediately explodes. The Ukrainians destroy the second tank using 2 ammunition rounds. The first drone is armed with a regular grenade. Its task is to blast through the protective metal grille shielding the tank. The second drone, however, is equipped with a shaped charge, and take a look at the result. Next, the Ukrainians pursued a Russian APC with infantry. The first drone damaged the armored vehicle, and the infantrymen fled. Afterward, the second drone, also armed with a shaped charge, finished off the APC. Russia places great importance on the use of combat aviation to break through Ukrainian defenses. The pilot team carefully prepares for each mission. They use heavy FAB bombs, weighing from 250 kilograms to 1.5 tons. In fact, this is Russia's most powerful weapon at the moment, allowing them to make at least some progress. The Su-34 fighter jet soars high into the sky and drops bombs 30 kilometers from the target. Dozens and hundreds of bombs are launched daily. They fly to positions held by Ukrainian soldiers. And unfortunately, Ukraine cannot always defend against them. The bombings last for days on end. With their actions, the Russians inflict colossal damage on Ukrainian infrastructure. They destroy factories and plants, homes of civilians, and turn entire towns into uninhabited deserts. Sometimes the Russians make mistakes. This Su-34 fighter jet was flying at an unacceptably low altitude to drop its bombs. It managed to hit its target, but on the way back, the aircraft was possibly shot down by a Stinger anti-aircraft system. The pilot managed to eject, and he was later found by the Ukrainians. Actually, Ukrainians have shot down numerous types of Russian fighter jets. One of them even crashed into the Black Sea. They even managed to shoot down a strategic bomber Tu-22. The accuracy of Russian bombs is still not great, so they have to rely on quantity. But most often, Russians use the so-called ground attack aircraft, Su-25. It's a very inexpensive but reliable aircraft. They fly at low altitudes and very close to the front line, constantly operating at the edge of risk. Typically, these aircraft fly in pairs for a mission. One plane drops bombs or launches rockets while the other provides cover. After hitting the targets, they quickly return before being shot down. Look, one of these aircraft hardly avoided colliding with a drone hovering in the air. This moment was captured on video. The struggle for air superiority forces the Russians to deploy numerous air defense systems along the front line. One of the most important tasks is to shoot down Ukrainian reconnaissance drones. And it must be admitted that the Russians succeed in this. However, this Russian complex 9K330 came under the sight of Ukrainian artillery and was destroyed by a HIMARS missile. The most common Russian air defense system is the Buk M3. It's this system that the Russians use to shoot down planes and fighter jets. But even this weapon the Ukrainians can easily track and then destroy using HIMARS missiles. This distinctive smoke firework occurs when the ammunition of this complex explodes and the rocket fuel ignites. But take a look at the next video. Ukrainians destroyed the Buk M3 using a special long-range drone. The Russians tried